In quiet neighborhoods, power goes wrong.
I didn't know yet that my entire life was about to split into two parts. Before that scream, and after the sirens. 3 minutes. That's all it took for an arrogant woman with authority issues to turn cruelty into a crime and for the full weight of justice to come crashing down on her world. My daughter, Lily, was 9 years old. She couldn't run fast. She couldn't defend herself. She walked with difficulty because of a spinal condition she had been born with. But she smiled more than anyone I knew. That afternoon, she was sitting near the community playground drawing with chalk on the pavement. Flowers. Butterflies. A crooked little house she said was ours. I was nearby, watching from a bench, letting her enjoy a moment of independence. I never imagined how quickly that moment would be stolen. She arrived the way she always did. Loud. Confident. Certain that everyone owed her obedience. The HOA Karen. She marched toward Lily with her phone in one hand and a clipboard in the other. "You're not allowed to be here," she snapped. Lily looked up, confused. "I'm just drawing," she said softly. Karen didn't soften. "This playground is for approved residents only," she said sharply. I stood up immediately. "She is an approved resident," I said calmly. "And she's disabled." Karen looked at me, then dismissed me with a wave. "She's causing a disturbance," Karen replied coldly. A disturbance. A child with chalk. Lily tried to stand, struggling slightly. "I can move," she said nervously. Karen stepped closer. "Don't argue with authority," she said. I took a step forward. "That's enough," I warned. "Back away from my daughter." Karen turned toward me, her eyes full of anger. "You people always threaten," she snapped. "I enforce rules here." Then she did something unforgivable. She grabbed Lily's arm. Lily cried out in pain. "Stop!" I shouted, rushing forward. Karen shoved Lily away roughly. Lily fell. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just helplessly. Karen didn't stop. Neighbors froze in shock. Phones dropped. Someone screamed. I reached Lily just as she curled into herself, crying, unable to move properly. Karen stood over her, breathing hard, still yelling about rules. I knelt beside my daughter. "Lily, look at me," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. She was shaking. "I can't move right," she whispered. That sentence shattered me. I pulled my phone out with trembling hands. And then I heard it. Someone else had already called. Sirens. Distant, but getting closer. Karen looked around suddenly. The crowd. The phones. The sirens. Her confidence cracked. She attacked me first, she yelled weakly. No one believed her. I wrapped my jacket around Lily, holding her close, whispering that help was coming. And it was. Fast. Police vehicles screeched to a stop. Then more. Then armored vans. People stepped back in shock. This wasn't routine patrol. This was SWAT. Karen's face drained of color. What is this?" she stammered. Officers moved with precision. Weapons lowered but ready. The lead officer looked at me. Then at Lily. Then back at me. "Yes," I said quietly. "That's her." Karen screamed. "This is harassment. You can't do this." But the moment had passed. Hands were raised. Commands were issued. She was restrained. Neighbors watched in stunned silence. Lily clutched my shirt, frightened but safe. Paramedics arrived immediately. They treated Lily gently, carefully. "She's stable," one said. "But we need to take her in." I nodded. As they lifted her, she looked at me. "Daddy, did I do something wrong?" I swallowed hard. No, I said firmly. You did nothing wrong. At the scene, a senior officer approached me respectfully. Sir, he said quietly, may I confirm your identity? I looked back at Karen as she was placed in custody, still shouting, still blaming, still unaware. Yes, I replied calmly. You may. The playground was silent. Not peaceful, heavy. Parents hugged their children tighter. Neighbors whispered in disbelief. Karen was sitting on the curb now, hands cuffed, mascara streaked down her face. She kept repeating the same sentence. I was just enforcing rules. No one answered her. A detective approached me carefully. Sir, we'll need a statement, he said. I nodded. But before I could speak, another officer leaned in and whispered something into his ear. The detective straightened immediately. Sir, he said, more respectfully now, could we step aside? Karen noticed. Her eyes narrowed. Karen raised her voice again. Hey! Why are you talking to him like that? I'm the HOA board president. No one reacted. The officers ignored her completely. That terrified her more than anger ever could. She tried to stand. Ma'am, sit down, an officer ordered. She sat. I told them everything. How she approached Lily. How she grabbed her. How she pushed her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't have to. Every word was backed by witnesses. By cameras. By phones. An officer walked over holding a tablet. Sir, he said, we have multiple recordings from residents. He glanced at Karen. All angles. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. This is discrimination against me, she screamed suddenly. That child shouldn't even be outside alone. The crowd reacted instantly. Gasps. Anger. Outrage. One woman shouted back, you touched her. Another yelled, she's disabled, you monster. Karen broke down crying. But it wasn't remorse. It was fear. A senior officer stepped away to make a call. I watched him pace slowly, listening carefully. He stopped. Looked at me. Then looked back at Karen. He ended the call and walked straight toward me. Sir, he said quietly, we need to update the situation. Karen strained to hear. What situation? Karen shouted. You can't just arrest me like this. The officer ignored her. He lowered his voice. Sir, your daughter's case now falls under aggravated assault, he said. And possibly hate-based misconduct. Karen froze. That's impossible. Karen screamed. I didn't mean to hurt her. The officer finally turned toward her. Intent doesn't erase harm, he said coldly. Karen started shaking. This is all a misunderstanding, she whispered. But misunderstandings don't summon SWAT. I stepped away briefly, calling the hospital. The doctor confirmed Lily was conscious. Stable. But scared. That broke me more than anything. I closed my eyes and took a breath. I promised myself one thing. She would never feel unprotected again. When I returned, Karen was being read her rights. She barely listened. Her eyes were locked on me. Like she was finally seeing me for the first time. Not as a neighbor. Not as a resident. But as a threat. Karen shouted suddenly. Who are you? Why is everyone treating you like this? I didn't answer. Not yet. The officers escorted her toward a vehicle. But she kept talking. You think you've won? This isn't over. She had no idea how wrong she was. An unmarked black SUV pulled up. No lights. No sirens. Just authority. Two men stepped out. Suits. Calm expressions. They walked straight toward me. Karen noticed. Her breathing quickened. One of the men nodded at me respectfully. "Sir," he said, "everything is in motion." I nodded back. Karen screamed. "What is happening?" No one answered her. Karen was placed into the vehicle. As the door closed, she shouted one last time. "You ruined my life." I whispered softly, barely audible. "No. You did." The black SUV doors closed. Karen was still shouting from inside, her voice muffled but frantic. One of the suited men turned to the senior officer. "Sir, we'll take it from here." The officer nodded. Then, he turned to me. "Commander," he said clearly, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, "do you wish to press all charges immediately?" The crowd went silent. Karen's shouting stopped instantly. Karen pressed her face to the window. "What did he just call you?" she screamed. No one answered her. The suited man opened the SUV door just enough to look at her. "He's the reason SWAT arrived in 3 minutes," he said calmly. Karen's face drained of color. No, that's not possible," Karen whispered. "He's just a nobody." The man leaned closer. "You assaulted a disabled child," he said. "Whose father oversees interagency emergency response." Karen's jaw trembled. Her confidence collapsed completely. The SUV pulled off slowly. No sirens. No drama. Just consequences. The playground remained quiet long after she was gone. I arrived at the hospital minutes later. Lily was in a bed, wrapped in blankets. Her face was bruised. But her eyes lit up when she saw me. "Daddy," she whispered. I held her hand carefully. "I'm here," I said. "You're safe." "I was scared," she said softly. She was yelling. I swallowed hard. "I know," I replied. "But she can never hurt you again." She squeezed my hand. That was enough. The next morning, everything changed. Karen's mugshot was everywhere. Headlines read: HOA president arrested for assaulting disabled child. SWAT called after playground attack. Witnesses came forward in waves. Former complaints. Past threats. Previous rule enforcement incidents. A pattern. The courtroom was packed. Karen sat at the defense table, smaller than she'd ever looked before. No makeup. No confidence. She avoided my eyes. The judge read the charges slowly. Aggravated assault. Hate-based misconduct. Abuse of authority. Each word hit harder than the last. Karen's lawyer tried. She was enforcing HOA rules. The judge cut him off immediately. "This court does not recognize cruelty as governance," he said firmly. Karen's shoulders slumped. Karen was denied bail. She would remain in custody pending trial. As she was led away, she finally looked at me. Her voice cracked. "I didn't know who you were." I stood slowly. "You didn't need to," I said. "You just needed to know she was human." The HOA board dissolved within days. New leadership was installed. Mandatory disability awareness training became policy. The playground was renovated. Accessible equipment. Clear safety rules. Zero tolerance for abuse. Lily helped choose the colors. Weeks later, Lily returned to the playground. She was nervous at first. I stood nearby. Watching. Protecting. She smiled as another child joined her. For the first time since that day, she laughed. She looked at me and asked, "Daddy, is she gone forever?" I knelt beside her. "She can't hurt anyone again," I said gently. "That's what matters." She nodded. Satisfied. Power doesn't make someone dangerous. Cruelty does. And silence lets it grow. That day, Karen thought she was enforcing rules. But she learned something else instead. Some rules are written in law. Others are written in humanity. If you see injustice, speak. If you see abuse, act. Because sometimes, the difference between tragedy and justice is 3 minutes.